what I've seen in healthcare was how African American and Latino descents are leading in every disease there is when it comes to diabetes, heart disease, cancer. Like there's so we're number one in almost all of it.
What's your background in healthcare?
So primarily, I come from diabetes. I worked at Tampa General for many years in transplant. Just before I was
Organ
there,
transplant?
organ transplant,
Okay.
kidney, pancreas.
My neighbors does that right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I was the executive secretary for one of the surgeons, and so my primary responsibility was to inform patients about what to expect pre and post transplant.
Recipients.
Recipients.
Okay.
Yes. And my specific doctor out of them all was the one doctor who never referred any of his patients to dialysis facilities because, and before him, I worked in a dialysis facility for many years. So I saw the patients on the machines. And when you look around the room, 95% of them are African American, Latino. And it was 3 shifts that would come in. They're on this machine for 4 or 5 hours or so. So what I would do, coming to work for him was a breath of fresh air coming out of a dialysis facility into seeing patients being revived from, lack of kidney usage and function and all that good stuff. But the risk was after you had this transplant, now you have to change everything about what
rejection
you eat.
And stuff like that.
Exactly, because you're all at risk for rejection, but you can aid it. You can aid it and possibly prevent it by the foods you eat, by the diet and exercise and all that good stuff. And so now that I'm a chef, which is a complete transition from healthcare, I take what I know to be a fact in medicine and apply that in our food.
What do you say to people who live these amazingly healthy lives and still have cancer?
Ooh, now that's a challenging question.
I mean, it's nothing's absolute, but
That's true.
there are people who, eat well, exercise, they have low stress, they're happy, and then they have cancer.
Well, here's the funny thing about cancer. Cancer is not just caused by the foods we eat. Cancer could also be caused by the sun. Cancer could be caused by things we put on our skin. Cancer could be caused by radiation from using microwave. Like there's so many ways that you can contain cancer.
I agree with you, by the way.
Okay. That what I say to them is the way to still function and live it out, or possibly fight against it, is still the food you eat and your mental state.
Sure.
Because some patients, when they hear you've got cancer, instantaneously they think death, and it's unfortunate, but that's what they think. And if you continuously live in that death place, you will die.
Well, sure. And, food is medicine.
For sure.
Right? And so my dad's African American, and he's on dialysis. And I wrote a paper when I was in college about hypertension.
Oh, wow.
And so I really thought about it, and I did some research, and I think it's multifaceted. So you have some people who eat things generationally that are just terrible.
Yes.
And, my dad once got really mad at me because I didn't want to eat certain foods. And I said, that's slave food. I don't eat that. And he's like, what? This is what people ate. I said, yeah, that's because it was the scraps.
Yeah.
And when I grow up, I'm going to eat the chop, not the feet.
Wow.
And so, he didn't like that part, but I don't really care because it's true. The idea of we've been eating these terrible foods for generations, high sodium for preservatives because we didn't have places to put them,
right.
High sodium for taste and to kill off bacteria. Right. And so generationally it became you eat what your mom ate, and she ate what her mom ate and dad ate. And so it trickles down. And then you add the fact that, as a minority, you struggle with a lot of societal pressures
Correct.
that are unnecessary. And so all of those things raise hypertension. I
Yes.
got an A, by the way, but it was 15 pages.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of that plays a role. Access to good food.
For sure.
Calories are cheap,
For sure.
right? So that's why
For
if
sure.
you see a person, they're asking for money and they may have a big belly and they're heavy. That's because they can buy this burger for $1. You know, and they can't necessarily buy something that's a salad for 10.
That's right.
Right?
So one of the things that we are, for 2 years, we've been contracted with Humana Healthcare.
That's great.
We've been we partnered with them to go in and do healthy cooking demonstrations for their carriers, most of them being senior citizens. And so each month they would give us a topic. Some months it would be diabetes. Some months it would be mood fighting foods or foods that
foods,
fight your
yeah.
brain. I mean that feed your brain or your memory and different things like that. So every month whenever I got the topic, we had to sit and think about what can we cook, based on this specific topic. And so all the research that you do is the common denominator is greens, or and healthy fats, right? So at the into it just got easier and easier for me to kind of figure something out because it's all centered around greens and healthy fats. So
When you say healthy fats, you mean like nuts and
nuts,
fish?
your oils,
Okay.
and the great news now is that you have access to healthier oils, avocado oil, grapeseed oil,
Coconut oil.
coconut
maybe?
oil, and not just olive oil, because olive oil used to be the only thing
Yeah.
for a while.
No
other
wonder it's
than
$18.
Crisco and vegetable oil, right?
The market corner.
Yeah.
So, what I used to tell the audience is like, I'm standing in front of seniors, so you have to be realistic with these seniors because they're either retired or they are on Social Security income or like it's a low income.
So it's
Fixed
fixed.
income. Yeah.
It's a fixed income.
Right.
And so in reality, can you really afford to go to a place like Whole Foods or a place like, some super expensive market to get organic foods?
The answer is probably not, right?
Probably not. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go to Walmart. There's a Walmart on every corner. There's a Winn-Dixie or a Publix on every corner. Publix is personally my favorite. Everybody knows that about me.
Well, yeah, I'm a raving fan of Publix, but I will go to Winn-Dixie for buy one,
I
get
will
one.
go. I will
and I
go
go
to
to
Winn-Dixie.
Walmart for dry goods.
Right. But my strategy became to go to these everyday realistic grocery markets, pick up these foods that are cost effective, but that are either organic or not, and show you how to take what your nutritionist or your dietitian instructs you to eat and show you how to make it taste good. Because not all, some people don't know how to make healthy food taste good. Like you guys mentioned earlier, it's boring. It's
Spaghetti squash.
yeah, like some
tried
people
it too.
don't.
It's
Yeah,
still-
and some people don't know how to make it taste good. So that was my job, and I would tell them, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to tell you the nutritional value. That's not what I'm about. I'm here to show you how to make it taste amazing, so you won't miss the fat back in your collard greens. So you won't miss the pork, the Mojo pork, even though I like Mojo pork. But you won't miss that because I'm taking all of those herbs and spices and
Ingredients.
things that you are accustomed to, and putting it on your vegetables or putting it in your spaghetti squash or your whole wheat, whatever. And then they get to sample it. And then I give them a recipe card. And now every month I'm coming in there and they're like, I tried the recipe oh my God, it was amazing. My daughter, da 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 da. And they're all raving about how good this healthy dish was and how excited they were to even try it, because some people had never even tried tofu.
Yeah.
Some people had never even tried quinoa. Some people had,
Most people can't spell it or say
correct.
it.
Correct.
So you wrote these recipes yourself, right?
Yes.
From your background of being a chef now.
Yes.
Okay, that's really interesting. That's important work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
So what would you say to a person like me who I can't really have leafy greens?
Ooh.
The reason is
Mm-hmm.
it has vitamin K.
Okay.
Most leafy greens have vitamin K,
Okay.
and so I can't really
Yeah,
consume
acidic.
vitamin K because I have a mechanical valve in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
an aortic valve, and it needs to be clear of clots.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so, my doctor, my cardiologist, which I have multiple doctors now, cardiologist like, hey, kind of steer clear of leafy greens. And so what am I going to eat? Meat. You
Well,
can have your tofu. I'm sure it tastes good.
yeah. But there's alternatives to leafy greens,
Which are what?
which are zucchini, which
I love
are
zucchini.
butternut squash, carrots, lentils.
I love all of that.
Yeah,
And
there's
I eat it.
there's alternatives to the leafy greens that are still good.
I miss leafy greens.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So you can't have them at all, or you
I
can't.
can,
You
but
just
if
have
I
to.
do, I should have them probably at the same time every day.
Okay.
And then forever.
Ah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to introduce them now, but it was easier to just stay away from it.
Right.
I'll have that, but without lettuce.
Gotcha.
Even though not iceberg lettuce, but
Right.
romaine.
Like spinach or romaine. Or,
Yeah, and I
okay.
love spinach salads.
Yeah,
We go to
me too.
town in that. I
Me
put
too.
strawberries and feta. And
Absolutely.
That's our
Yeah.
signature
Yeah.
salad right there. Yeah.
So let's talk more about Livi O's and what that is and how you made the transition from executive assistant to
Wow.
chef.
Wow.
That was a big jump. And a big test. It started a while ago. Like we've had the name Livi O's for a while.
What does that mean? Where does that derive from?
It comes from our kids, actually. It's the name of our children. Our oldest daughter, her name is Olivia. We call her Livy.
Always have.
A lot of people call the niece Livy from Livi O's because they think it fits,
Yeah.
but it is our daughter's name.
That's what I thought at first.
I know.
Yes.
A
And
lot
then
of people.
The rest of the kids that I have with her, names start with an O. I kind of cursed them because my name is Omar, of course. But it's Olivia, Aubrey, Olena, and little Omar. So it's Livy O's with all the O's.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's that's
Yeah,
clever.
so it's actually a meaning behind the name. It's just not a name that we made up to start a business.
No.
So
and the name is kind of catchy.
Yeah.
yes.
So when I first started hearing about Livi O's, I was like, who's Livy?
Wow.
I know, right?
She's
And
our
I thought
8-year-old.
maybe her last name began with an O. But
She's our 8-year-old.
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so who came up with the name?
In all honesty, the Lord showed it to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a visionist. I dream things, I see things, and some things, and I share a lot, and then sometimes I don't share because I feel like it's sometimes it gets overwhelmingly weird. But when I had Olivia, I knew that I had always wanted to maybe have a restaurant one day. But I never knew that was really a dream, I guess. And so, Omar and I were both fly by the seat of our pants kind of people. We weren't planners. We weren't.
I love that. That's how I live too.
Yeah, we weren't. We weren't. If I can be completely honest, we weren't responsible. We weren't. We weren't. We were all of the things that society
says not to be.
Says not to be.
Okay.
We were all of those things in so many ways. And so by the time our worlds collided, I think we were both at wit's end of that irresponsibleness and just said, okay, well, together, let's just be responsible. And so that's basically what we did. So, I worked corporate America all my life. I never, since I was 18. So I was never the girl who wanted to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to be in life. I love being social. I was the popular girl. And those were the things that mattered to me. So when we had our first son together, was when I knew that something had to change. And so I said, well, I'll just go to college. I was in my late 20s then. And so throughout me realizing that, I'm on this path to try to provide a better life for my son. So I thought, was this thing eating me alive about getting up, going to work every day? In my venture for more, the Lord revealed to me that there is more, and it's outside of these four walls and this time clock you clocking in on every day. And that became extremely overwhelming because it was like every morning this thing would just come over me. And so I began to have a conversation with him. Babe, the Lord is telling me to quit my job. I don't know why, you know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And he's this realist, and he's like, absolutely not. You're not quitting
We
your
had
job.
just bought a house like maybe a year prior to that,
You're not
and
doing
just
that.
moved with all these kids. And she said she wanted to quit. I was like, that equation actually doesn't
It
add up.
doesn't. It didn't add
A
up to
new
him.
house, kids,
Mm-mm,
and one less income in the
mm-mm.
household.
Yeah.
So
So, I would put it aside, and then 6 months later, I would ask again.
Oh, that's a long time.
Oh, it
And
was 2 years.
she's
It was
patient.
2 whole years.
she's patient, but she's persistent.
Very persistent.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I was, I knew that this thing was a real thing. It wasn't something that I had made up, like, and it wouldn't go away. So I had a conversation with my mom one day and about it, because at this point I was like overwhelmed, and I wanted to be that submissive wife and not just
You
quit the
wanted
job.
to be a
Oh, I
submissive wife?
desired that. I desired that because
Why is that?
oh, because I've been married before.
So you guys have a blended family.
We have a blended family.
Okay.
I've come through domestic, violence. I've come through so many odds and obstacles and all that and all those things. And I got married really young. And so when I experienced divorce for the first time and the last time, it was probably one of the worst places mentally, physically, financially that I'd ever been. I was homeless. There's so many things.
Sure.
And so what I knew was that I was a wife. I didn't know whose wife. And I said that I was not, if I ever got married again, I would never get divorced again. And
Stuck
so
now.
Better believe it.
so whatever that meant, and as I in my little time alone before I met Omar, in my time alone, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. And so I took that time to really focus on those things. So by the time he and our worlds met, it was like, okay, Lord, if this is who you have for me, because I had stopped envisioning, every relationship. Oh, this might be him. Oh, this might be him. By the time I met Omar, I was like, you either are or aren't him.
Yeah.
I had that attitude. And so we instantly had that conversation the night we met.
About marriage?
Not about marriage necessarily.
I was gonna
just
say, and you're
about
still together.
Yeah.
Well, we've been together ever since that night.
From the night we met, we've been together.
That's great.
16
Never
years.
breaking up.
So
no
what
separation,
was the conversation?
Wow.
life,
Goals,
Okay.
growing
dreams, how irresponsible we were at that time, because we both were. He was living with a cousin, I was living with a friend. Neither of us had a place of our own,
I see.
Gosh, there was so many things. Again, I had just come out of that terrible relationship, but I was alone for about a year and a half or so before I met him, and I think we were both just tired of being tired.
Makes sense. So what did you do before you met Lennise, Omar?
together. Well, a little bit about me. I am the first one in my family to even graduate high school.
Wow, congratulations.
So I was the first one to graduate high school, go to college, and mom was like, I said, Mom, I have a chance to go to college. She was like, well, I don't have any money to help you get there, but if you do get there, she gave me $300. She said, this is all I got when you go. I couldn't call home to ask for the money from parents, because that's the household I came from. So, and I did a speech recently, and the name of the speech was "My Life is Destined," because a lot of things that happened to me seems that it happened at the exact time it was supposed to. It was destined to happen. Like when I went to college, I never took the ACT or SET when I went to Bethune-Cookman. When I got accepted there, that was the last year they accepted students without having the ACT or SAT.
Wow.
I never even planned to go to college. I had a cousin that came and talked to me my senior year and said, man, what you gonna do with your life? I said, I don't know, normal. I'm gonna take a break probably after school. I'm tired of school, man. I've been here a
Yeah,
while.
well, I've been here for 13 years.
Yeah, I've been here a while. And then he sat me down, he said, if you don't do anything, he said, just fill out an application to my school. He said, you don't have to go, you don't have to pay any money because you get this application for free. He said, just do it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I kind of brushed it off. And after a while, I kind of set in. I said, well, let me just do it just to do it. And I ended up getting an acceptance letter. And then that just kind of blew my mind, like, I can go to college? I never thought I was going to college. That was like the furthest thing from my mind. So when I went to college, Bethune-Cookman, I had to learn how to be a college student. I come from a household where it wasn't education in the household, was no father in the household. So I had to learn everything on my own. I couldn't lean on anybody at all. I can lean on my cousin that was up there, but for the most part, I didn't have any guidance. When I got up there, I got kicked out of school the first 2 years. Partying, a little kid from a small town, go to somewhere new. I didn't really know how to control myself. Instead of going to class, I was hanging out. I was going to the clubs and doing everything I wasn't supposed to do.
Well, I mean, at that age, you're so young. How can you be expected to control yourself, right?
That's true. So it was lessons that we had to learn.
Sure.
So it took me getting kicked out of school to learn that, okay, I shouldn't have did that. So I said, I'm going to go to Tallahassee. I'm going to go to FAM now. They kicked me out of Cookman. I'm going to go to FAM. But me being hard-headed at Cookman, I used to drive my car around this park everywhere. Like, they give me a little Cookman tickets. I was like, you're not real police. I'm not going to pay this, which was a blessing in disguise. So when I tried to go to FAM, I literally moved to Tallahassee and everything. But when they said they wouldn't accept me in because Cookman wouldn't release my transcripts because I owed a balance for my parking tickets.
Oh.
My life was destined. I ended up living in Tallahassee for a year, going back home for 3 months, and then something in my mind, to this day, I still think it's the Lord. I don't think I know it's the Lord that told me. He said, fill out more financial aid papers. Because I thought my financial aid was going forever. Like I said, I didn't have anybody educating me on it.
Right.
It was only going for a semester. I was out of school for 2 years before I did that. Filled it out, got the same envelope, the manila envelope. Hey, you're accepted again. So I said, okay, Lord. I say, most people don't get one chance to go to college.
Let alone two.
This is my second chance.
Okay.
So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do it right this time. I had learned my lesson. I still partied. I still did everything. But then I started doing my work in school. I started making good grades. I started making A's in class. I was like, this ain't too bad. It ain't too hard. I was a business major. Started learning a lot about business, and everything was different from everybody I knew from growing up. Like, I come from a small town. You work hard. You work for the sugar mill, same place that's killing everybody in my little small town. But that was the good job in my small town.
A decent job, right?
Yeah, that was the best job. Even the school teacher made less than them.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, went back to school, graduated. A lot of my friends didn't. And it was always weird to me that I had to struggle so much to go to college and graduate when all these other people that I knew in college, their parents paid all their bills, had them cars. I struggled the whole time. I had a kid in college, everything. And I'm like, how are they not graduating? They have so little responsibility. They can just go to school. So, and then later on in life, that was the problem. They didn't have responsibility. They should have learned responsibility earlier. That would have made them stay in school. So I graduated. I moved to Jacksonville for a year after I graduated. Did retail management. First job out of college. There's wanting something saying management on my name. That was about a year. And then I moved to Tampa. And that's when I met Lennise after about a year here in Tampa.
What made you come to Tampa?
I had a cousin live here.
Okay.
That was really the only reason. No guy like, all right, well, I'm tired of Jacksonville. I can go to Tampa. I got a cousin live there. He got a 1-bedroom. I sleep on the couch until I get a job. I had a college degree. I get an apartment. I worked my way up. It wasn't anything major. So that's when I met her. And what was different about her is that going to school, going to college, girls wasn't a problem, partying wasn't a problem. Like, it was just something different when I met her. It wasn't me meeting a girl trying to see what I can get out of a girl that night, you know what I mean, or going in for the kill. She opened my mind up to just have a different conversation, talk about goals, what we're going to do in life, what's your plan? And I'm like, I ain't really met no girl that be talking about all this stuff right here. So it was different from the beginning. And I knew I need to hold on to that differentness because everything else I had, like, not to say I was a ladies' man, but I had plenty of women.
Okay.
And I never got that from all those women. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's how we met and kind of how we stayed together for the most part.
And so getting back to becoming a chef,
Mhm.
right?
Wow.
That was a great story, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very true.
Yeah.
It doesn't get old. It's weird. But when I finally got the yes from Omar, it was because I had given up on asking, and my mom just encouraged me to ask the same God who was showing me the vision to show Omar the vision. So basically, change your prayer, and that's what I did. When I changed the prayer, I just left it in God's hands and stopped worrying about it and all that good stuff. Went on to work, said I'll just apply for a promotion in a different department, and I did that.
Were you not liking what you were doing?
I think the
They had moved you
politics had
to a
gotten
different
they had moved me
department.
to a different area
Mhm.
because I had gotten pregnant when I came back from maternity leave. A lot had changed, um, and they moved me into inner city, which I didn't have an issue with. I think what I had the most issue with after a year and a half of being in that area was the politics and how they treated African American and Latino and Asian and whatever other nationality that was other than Caucasian. Because I had come from downtown Tampa General, the
Okay.
big beautiful side of Tampa General, into the
The
hood,
ugly side.
I see.
and it was a completely
So it
different,
was they moved you, but it was kind of a demotion.
for sure.
Okay.
It the work had nothing to do with it. Again, it was the way that these patients were being treated compared to where I had
So the
come
quality of care was
from. Quality of
diminished.
care was
Yes.
diminished for
Okay.
sure. Patients would wait 6-7 months to
What?
see an oncologist
What?
because the oncologist would only be there one time
yeah.
a month.
You die waiting.
They have. They
This
did.
was real. This was real.
It's still going on.
This was so real. And it started affecting my morals and my values. And so that for me was an issue. And this problem was far bigger than me. You know,
Sure.
so little old me couldn't control this, But I did what I could. And so but it became overwhelming. And when I prayed that prayer and went on to work and apply for this promotion, they offered me the job and I had accepted the job, and then 24 hours later they rescinded the offer.
Wow.
And so when I called Omar and let him know about it, that's when he gave me the green light to quit the job. So now I'm out here. And I'm like, Lord, for 2 years you told me to get out here, but you didn't tell me what to do.
Right.
You didn't give me a plan. And here we go back to this planning thing. I didn't have one. And so 6 months went by, and then 8 months went by, and mortgage was going unpaid, and bills were falling. And because I was like, I wasn't the breadwinner, but I played a major role in our household with our income, and I carried the insurance for our family. And so Omar says, yo, babe, you got to do something. You either got to go back to work or you got to figure something out. And so the very next morning, I woke up and said, I'll sell some meals until I figure it out. And so I started cooking in my kitchen.
So you started selling dinners.
Dinners, the little styrofoam containers.
Wow.
And she was already an amazing cook already. So like
But I didn't know
everything
it.
she made was good.
I didn't know that. I just liked it. I just, not even liked, I just loved it. I loved going to the grocery store. And my friend, who I was roommates with when I met Omar, she would call me at work. What we eating for dinner tonight? Because she knew I loved to cook and she hated to cook. She was the cleaner. So it was a perfect relationship with she and I. And I would always just experiment things. I always loved the TV shows, Top Chef and Chopped and all those good things. I always loved hosting Christmas and Thanksgiving with my family. I would assign who was making the greens, who was going to make the mac and cheese to make the perfect meal. Because for me, it was the experience that people got whenever they came together. And I never knew how much I loved those things until he forced me to make a decision. And so when I made the decision, I thought that my brain said, do what people love. People love food. You can make easy money off of food. And so I was like, cool, I'm cooking dinners and I send it out to social media. Thank God for social media.
How do you find people to buy your food? That's such a difficult thing.
All right. So,
Right? A person you don't know just selling dinners.
well,
Like the church does.
Right.
before all this transpired, her quitting her job and everything, she started a nonprofit organization called Sisters Standing Strong.
Yeah.
And they would do like a Mother's Day lunch or brunch every year. And one year they were looking for entertainment for this event.
Yeah.
And she got referred to some comedians.
Some comedians.
And then they did it. The comedians was hilarious.
They were hilarious.
And then we spoke to them and we asked did they have managers because they were really good. And we never managed anybody before or anything
Mm-mm.
like that, but we just thought it shouldn't be that hard. They're
Yeah.
funny as crap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, literally.
So I know, right? And we, in our mind, we can do anything.
Right.
So one of them said that he did, or he didn't need one, and one said, "Yeah, I can use a manager." So we actually started managing him.
Mm-hmm.
So you're managing comedians,
Managing comedians,
and selling
working,
dinners.
No, this was
we
this
were
was
working
before the
full time
dinners.
still.
Yeah,
Oh,
The
okay.
comedian thing was just a hobby.
it was just something to do. And the very first show we did was at the Tampa Bay Picture Show, and we sold out.
Sold
It
it
was over
out.
300 people.
Sold out.
Yeah, we
We
was
were
out.
hitting the streets,
We was hitting them,
hustling,
yeah, putting flyers out
on
and
cars,
everything.
going out to the Causeway Beach,
Handing
passing out flyers in the summer.
So we was
and
marketing
the
it
kids
very
were passing
well.
out flyers too.
Ah.
So we did a couple of those,
Yeah.
and that's how our clientele kind of built up. They knew we was putting on comedy
Oh,
shows.
and so those were the people that became your
Right.
customers for dinners.
Exactly.
We took the
and
data
we
from
always
that.
kept their email addresses.
Yeah,
Relationship building.
there
For
we go.
sure.
So
Okay.
But didn't even
we
know
didn't know it at that point.
We didn't even know it.
So when we started the catering business, and we was like, well, who we
We
gonna
were
sell it
selling
to?
dinners, yeah.
I was like, babe, we got like over 300 emails
Yeah.
of them people. Why don't we just start with them? They already know us.
Yep. I made this fake menu, made it look like it was a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Made this fake, like I put every meal was only $8. No matter which meal I cooked, they were all the same
Yeah.
price.
I'll
You know,
go
because
with
I
the
knew they
steak and
had it to be
lobster.
And
right.
whatever we had ribs,
I knew they had to be
everything one
affordable.
time for $8.
And
yeah.
the funny thing is, vegan, vegetarian, healthy eating was on the rise then. And so I knew that I needed a salad, or I knew I needed something light, because a lot of people,
Mhm.
and we've always been a diverse couple. We've always been, you know, like I said, very social. So our network wasn't just African American. And so I knew, I'm like, white people don't eat collard greens every day, you know, so you
Mhm.
got to give them something a little healthier or whatever. And so no matter what meal we made, we only priced it at $8, and then we were delivering.
That's
And
brilliant.
so, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I
Delivering
remember
everywhere.
when after I came up with the menu, and I knew it needed a description, and I had pictures and everything, because I used to always take pictures of my food before Livy O's existed. And so we were like, what are we going to call it? And I was like, well, it can't be a place, because we're not a place. And so I was like, what about Livy O's? And he was like, well, it can't be Bourbon Street Cafe, because that was when I had the
original
name
name.
years ago, it was Livy O's Bourbon Street Cafe. I said, we got to drop cafe, because it's a place, it's a location.
Mhm.
And I was like, what about catering? That's not a place. And we were like, that's it.
That's it.
Huh.
That was it.
And that's how you came up with Livy O's Catering.
That's how
Yeah.
we came up
But
with
now
Livy
you
O's
guys
Catering.
have a brick and mortar. You have a
We do.
place.
We do.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I've had your food
Yes.
several times.
I know.
I've even tried to copy it a couple of times.
That's all right.
A couple
That's
things.
a
I'm
compliment
interested to
right
know what
there.
you tried.
That's a compliment though.
But
so that's good.
were you guys at my ribbon cutting?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no. We weren't. I wasn't at the ribbon cutting. When I met you, I had heard about your ribbon cutting.
No, we
Because-
met before that.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
by the time I remember Ian saying that you had like the most people at a ribbon cutting ever.
Well, we had a good amount, but I think we knew each other then.
Oh.
Yeah.
Y'all be thinking about that. I don't know.
My memory's impeccable unless it's yesterday. Either way, I've tried a couple of things at home, especially when I came back when we had the celebration of life party at my house.
That's what's up.
So yeah, we
Yes.
did like the cucumber with the smoked salmon.
Yeah,
I thought that was delicious.
Thank you.
And so a lot of other food that
Thank
I don't
you.
remember exactly what it was, but I
Yeah.
remember thinking this is really good food.
Nice.
And I mean, it seems like you guys have grown quickly
For sure.
and in popularity very quickly.
Yeah.
What I love about where we live is people support small businesses.
For sure.
100%.
Yes.
You know, although there's tons of those chain restaurants,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
people will support your small business.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I say, you know, when we moved out to Brandon, I think Omar was reluctant to move out that way. I was actually the pusher to move out that way, not knowing where it would take us, to be honest, because I wasn't thinking about Livy O's then. I was getting up, going to work every day. So it wasn't, you know, a thought. But I never would have thought that the city of Brandon, Valrico, you know, Riverview, Fishhawk, and all that good stuff would have supported us and embraced us in this to this level. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to know that the relationships that we've established are just they're priceless, they're
And they're
valuable,
genuine.
and they're
Yeah.
genuine.
Yeah.
They're so genuine, and we're so real and very transparent. It's like you don't really have to hear anything about us. You can just ask, and we'll tell you. Or if we haven't already said it, you know, people know the kids. They know Omar. They know, if they see me, how's because they know all the kids' names. They love the fact that it really is the epitome of a
The family
family business. Our kids love coming to Livy O's, and we knew when we were looking for a brick and mortar that it had to be close to home, somewhere that the kids enjoyed coming to, somewhere safe. If because I'm still a mom of some small kids, if the school calls and I need to go pick them up, I can do that. I'm not
100%.
way
Absolutely.
across town somewhere.
Asking
On
for permission for
somebody
Right,
else's
basketball.
clock.
that part,
Yeah.
that part. I didn't want to ask for permission anymore, and I was built that way. I can't get rid of it now.
You
You know?
shouldn't get rid of
Yeah,
it.
I can't. I
You
just
know,
can't.
that's part of what makes people decide to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I mean, when I worked for someone and my kid was sick, I had to ask for permission, or I had to go pick them up. Hey, can I do this? Well, you got to make up those 30 minutes. I'm thinking, 30 minutes, really?
Mm-hmm.
Keep your $6
Mm.
because that's all 30 minutes was worth to them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me anyway. But I think that what you guys are doing right now is really, really important because many couples and families can't work together.
Yeah.
Like I worked for my brother. And I said this in a different show that I was his apprentice and he's a contractor. And many a days his back was turned, and I thought this hammer will end everything, all of my suffering. He underpaid me,
Well, that was the
overworked.
case.
I used to think that, and
Yeah.
so he would be the hardest on me, whether he was looking at trying to train me or whatever. Didn't matter because I was suffering working for him. And I just thought, I can't work with family ever again.
Wow.
And when I started my business, it was because I got fired from another business, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, ever. And so that person that fired me couldn't show their face around. As I'm winning awards,
Wow.
they're hiding their face. They're going in the back door.
Yeah.
I'm sitting out in front.
Wow.
And so, I think every entrepreneur has to have that spirit in them to say, I will not tolerate anyone controlling my ability and my destiny.
Yeah. No matter what.
No matter what. And you've
No matter
destabilized your life for that. You became homeless and you quit your job to start a business. That takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of courage, which you won't find in many people. They'll have ideas all day long,
I know.
but they won't execute on those ideas. They're afraid.
Yeah.
And they have to be able to overcome that in order to not only be successful, but to even start.
Right.
And even if it fails, my business failed twice before it became successful.
I remember you telling me that.
And so just to start is where the courage is.
Yeah.
And so you let the other things, your skill set, your mindset, your relationships do the rest.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what you guys have done. I really love this story because I didn't know much about you guys. I just knew you, hey,
Wow.
we see each other, give you a hug. You came to my practice before.
Yes.
And I'm always like, this guy's dressed sharp. I gotta stay sharp. But I was wearing a hoodie when I came in here. But I got the extra starch on the.
Good. You gotta come correct. Correct.
It's a matter of seeing people that are like you.
It is.
And building those relationships also.
It's a lot because you think about your mindset and where you come from and what's been drilled in your mind all your life. Go to school, go to college, get you a good job, I hope, and then buy you a house that you can retire from your job.
Oh, man.
And then I'm like, none of that ever fit with me. Like even when I was in corporate America, like that when my mom told me that didn't fit. I'm like, no, I'm not just gonna get a job and just like that's what people in Clewiston did. They just got a job and got them a house and retired and died for the most part. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna go against that. When I got in school, I challenged all the teachers. Like I was never bad in school, but I challenged all the teachers.
Safe to say you were opinionated?
Absolutely.
Good.
Why? Why we got to do that? Can't we do it this way? When I was in corporate America, no one really understood me. That my peers that I work with, because they were like, "How could you talk to the head, the owner of the company like that?" Like I called him fat one day, and I was like, he talks to me like that. So why wouldn't I talk to him back? Like, you're
Maybe he
crazy.
should become vegan.
Hey, it's like that, you know what I
Oh
mean?
my
But
gosh.
I never fit the corporate mold. Even though I excelled in every single job that I've been in. I started from the bottom and worked my way all the way up. I even got overlooked a couple times, all this. But
Used to get mad.
even
Sure.
my last job, like the grace of God, this woman right here, she gave me some sense. Like after she quit, started doing her thing,
We got overwhelmed. I
and
got
then
overwhelmed with the busyness.
yeah, and then they called me in the office one day at my job. I've been there 6 years. I work finance in the medical school. I literally helped my job get an extra $1 million on the side by doing something outside of my job description. I help students go to medical school, so I found the grant for them. Right next door to where we worked at, in Career Source. And made a relationship with them people. And started sending all my students over there. Hey, don't take out all these student loans. Here, go check this out. Go check this out. Because I knew how it was when I went to school. I had to take out all the student loans because I didn't have any help or resources or anything like that. So I felt like I was giving back. You know what I mean? And I saw the school made like $33 million a month. Something
What?
like
$33 million a
a
month.
month. Yeah. Because you
We
think
should
about
do
it.
that.
When you're in school, the money comes from the government. And it comes like clockwork. You don't have to wait. You don't have, long as they just doing what they supposed to do, getting their grades, the money's coming. Like, and you have a start every couple of months or every couple of weeks, so that new money comes in every couple of weeks. So
Wow.
they was getting like 33 million a month.
It's like
So
Jeff Bezos' money.
it's crazy money.
Crazy money.
So I'm hearing about the managers getting bonuses of $800,000, but I can't even get a raise.
Wow.
But then they stepped to me one day and said, Omar, we know what you did to the company. We're doing some rearranging. We're not going to have any on-site students. Everything is going to be online. But we know what you did. If we got to make a job for you, we're going to make you a job. When it came down 2 or 3 months later, when they came inside of my office again, we got one job for you. Get your butt back on the phones and be in there all day. Make these calls. Get us some students.
You mean like call center stuff?
Yeah, like that. And
Like
I worked my
tiny
way up to
cubicles
my...
of people just
I
jump
had my
out the
own
window.
office, everything. I worked my way all the way up. And that's
To go
what they
back
wanted to
down.
do. So I calmed myself. I called my wife. And she had just stopped working. I'm the man of the family. You know what I mean? My job is to take care of my household. So now they're about to take this job away from me. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm calling her freaking out. And she said, in the calmest voice ever, she said, babe, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Quick.
She said, when we first met, we talked about all the things that we're going to do in life. And working in these corporate jobs, we're not going to do any of those things. And we keep talking about it. She said, you don't see it, but it's a blessing in
It
disguise.
is.
And when I got off of that phone, it was a comment over me at that point. Like, okay,
I
Oh,
had
trust
prayed
yourself.
for help.
yeah,
I had prayed for help. We were growing.
yeah.
I felt like slaving, even though I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I was doing, but there were so many sleepless nights and tiredness and all that good stuff. And so I was like, Lord, I need some help,
Well, the meals went from like 13 a
to
week
like
to like
90
a
a
90
week.
to 100.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
were pushing them
delivering
out
in
every
Pinellas
Friday.
County, Tampa, even Lakeland.
County.
Yeah, we was delivering
We were
everywhere.
everywhere. We were everywhere.
In
And this
one
was
car.
just word of mouth and social media. With
Mhm.
one vehicle. And one person
Like
cooking
a
the
Yeah.
food.
600% increase.
Hey,
That's great.
yeah.
So your food must be good.
I mean,
That's what the people say.
I've had
Just
some.
saying.
That's what the people say.
I've had some of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is.
And
But
the
when it
food is the easy
comes,
part, though,
yeah,
to
it
us.
is. It's effortless. That's the effortless part of the job. Even for me, because I'm a social butterfly, so the networking part of the job for me is probably one of my favorite things to do. Because I love going in a room where I know nobody and walking out knowing maybe everybody.
That was a hurdle I had to get over.
He had to
Because
overcome
I'm
that.
coming from the background where I don't
Yeah.
trust
You
anybody.
don't trust nobody.
Everybody I know, my cousins that I grew up with, we from the street, so everything you watch your back, you pay attention to everything.
Yeah.
So now I got to get in front of people and talk and
Yeah.
mingle and talk about our business and be approachable and all these things that I'm not comfortable doing any of them. So, and it's a blessing that I was forced to do it because it just made me a better person. Now I'm able to talk. We join network groups that you do got to stand. You got to give presentations. And it's going to come a time where you're put on the spot where you have to do it. I remember doing a delivery to one of our clients, and it's a big client. Like, just, I don't want to say it, but like he puts roles together for Tampa Bay. He has a couple 50 or $500 million contracts right now for Tampa Bay. So he's a big wig.
Okay.
So he called me in the office, and I'm doing a delivery for this group of people all in business suits. And he said, you know what? I don't think they know you. How about you get up there and do like a little 30-second commercial? And I got up there and knocked it out the park. And when I got done, everybody wants our card. They hear our story. They want to be part of the growth. And I wouldn't have been that comfortable. I wouldn't be able to articulate it like that if I wouldn't have put myself out there in these groups or having intellectual conversations with people and so forth. So it forced me to grow, and this has made me better.
Well, also your business is your passion. Your family is your business and your passion.
Absolutely.
So it's easy to speak about that, easier than you may realize. Because all you're doing is telling people, whether you know them or not, it doesn't matter because the story's the same. And it's true. And that's powerful. I love that story. I knew there was something back there, but I didn't know what it was. I said, you know what, we need to get these guys on and talk about that because I know many people who would like to have a restaurant. But just because you can cook doesn't mean you can run a restaurant.
Absolutely.
I make some good food. I'm not even trying to run a restaurant. I can't deal with those margins. I couldn't imagine all the food that may or may not go to waste.
For sure.
And so, you know, you're on these very narrow margins. You're spending long hours doing that, preparing it. And if something goes wrong, you have to start it over. There's just so many nightmares, right? And I used to watch Restaurant Impossible. You know,
when they had to come.
Robert Irvine.
Yeah, we did too.
Let me tell you, Scott, those nightmares are very real.
Sure.
They're very reality. And what we know is that the levels to this thing called entrepreneurship is forever evolving, and it's going to always be up and down, but it's your perspective even in the down. And so, and he has to. There are times that he has to encourage me, and there are times that I have to encourage him. But through the marriage, like we're never both low at the same time, and that's the weird thing, you know. One person has to not be in this.
Well, that's your energy,
cloud,
isn't
for
it?
sure, for sure. But for our business, we've always envisioned it to be way bigger than even what it is now.
Absolutely.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
is just the beginning.
For sure. People say, oh my God, I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all doing huge things. And we're thinking, this is just the beginning.
We haven't did anything yet.
We haven't even scratched the surface compared to where we know it's going to go. You know, I mean, we're strategizing on ways to completely remove ourselves from behind the four walls and to go and do other things, as well as our own personal goals. You know, for us, Livy O's is the platform that is going to enable us to complete the personal goals that we have for our lives, for our kids, for, you know, even our employees, because we think of them first, you know. And I think that's what sets us apart from just a lot of quote unquote entrepreneurs, because I don't think that everybody really has the truth behind what it really entails to be a business owner. You see so many people on social media. Oh, I'm a business owner. Oh, but you don't have a website. Or I'm a business owner, but you don't have, like, your even your graphics is just terrible, or your service is probably terrible, or vice versa. Maybe your service is great, but your advertising is terrible. Like, there's so many components that goes into this thing. You know, if you don't do it the right way, you're going to fail. It's inevitable.
Agreed. So, I mean, recently I just closed my practice.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I had to close. I didn't know I would be recovering from my injury so quickly.
Understood.
And so what I needed to do was get out in front of it.
Wow.
And the people who were, you know, working with me, I needed to give them options early instead of surprising them. In addition to that, I thought I may never work again.
Wow.
Because when I made that decision, I was barely able to walk around and take care of myself, you know.
I understand.
And so I said, you know what, early on, I'll close the practice. We have, you know, the mastermind groups, the mastermind lab for Patrick and different things like that. So talking would be much more easy or easier than working with people's injuries. And so I closed it early, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have waited. However, that would start to put me in debt because, since December 12th, I didn't have any income. And so, being an entrepreneur is very challenging because you don't expect those things.
Right.
And not only that, a lot of entrepreneurs don't recover from those things. I personally feel more driven and inspired than ever.
You have
and
to.
when I talk to Patrick, he knows if I'm saying I'm on fire, there's going to be trouble that day. And I spent a lot of time, reflecting on my experience, writing content and different things like that.
Nice.
But also, people who call themselves entrepreneurs kind of work under other entrepreneurs. Right. And I don't want to call anybody out, but there are some people, they work for Raymond James. And they're like, I'm an entrepreneur. And I go, is your name Raymond James?
Can I just say
now
that I feel this, because I thought I was the only person that thought like that, because I don't want to come off in any way disrespectful or,
right. I know
shady
people who work for Raymond James.
But let's just say the Mary Kay consultant or the bedroom candy consultant or just a consultant who says that they're an entrepreneur. Are you really?
Well, I think they're contractors.
Okay.
Because if your name's not Edward Jones, then you're not the entrepreneurial financial advisor, right? Because Edward Jones it's his model, right? And again, people who have those positions, some of them do extremely well.
Right, I agree.
But they may be classifying themselves or putting themselves in a different category. Me as an entrepreneur, I didn't want to work for anyone anymore, and I had a skill set, and I said, I can do this better. I'll build a better mousetrap. And it failed twice. But then my mousetrap started to catch mice.
Yeah.
And even with this podcast, I dreamt it doing, mastermind groups, and I sought out Patrick. There were obstacles.
I could have easily connected you with Patrick.
Well, see, I didn't know. And so I had this person and that person. I said, I want to speak to the guy who can do the thing.
Wow.
And, when he and I spoke, we had a good relationship. But I also told him, if you're not ready for this, then, I'm going to move on without you. And he's like, I'm ready. And so we started doing it. Yeah. And now here we are at the Tampa Club, which is our newest sponsor.
Love it.
And we're looking for, additional sponsors. And I've interviewed some really fascinating people that had some really fascinating stories. And you guys are included as well.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Even though my massage practice is closed, that doesn't mean I'm not going to do that kind of work anymore.
Right.
It just wouldn't be fair to the people that were relying on that space to make a living. And it's not fair to the owner of the building because I rented. And so I was able to get out early before everything started to really collapse.
Wow.
And, here we are again. I'm at the Tampa Club. I'm doing what I love. I want to help people share their stories. And I want to listen to these amazing stories of people that I know.
Yeah.
Patrick and I, we don't interview people we don't know. And we did that once, and we didn't air that. it didn't go well at all. The young man was like, can I take a break? And he took multiple breaks. And, it was more like an argument than it was an interview. And even though I'm interviewing you guys now, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like just talking.
Just conversation.
Regular dialogue.
So we lost that. And so we decided we're not even going to air it. There's just no reason to put that poor product out there. And we're asking for people to subscribe and listen. I have 980 friends on Facebook, but I'm sure that 1% of those people maybe subscribe.
Following.
We know.
And so, you guys know how that is. Just because people, I think it's white noise.
Yes.
Right? How many catering people? I wanted to bring you guys in for doing the catering at my ribbon cutting and at my house, but I wasn't there yet. So, I used other relationships to do that, and it saved me money at the time. But also, I want to support that. I want to go to your Friday night thing.
You got to.
Yeah, I hear it's great.
Man.
You got to.
And so, I'm not sure what kind of karaoke you're getting from me. I may drop some Marvin Gaye. Who knows?
Fine. It's so
if
fine.
you drop something, that's good. Because
Let me
we've had
tell
people
you.
in there who absolutely cannot sing.
At all.
Like me.
Well, I can join those people.
Like me.
I
I'm one of them. Believe me. Like, she's a songbird.
For my husband to grab the microphone and sing.
Yeah.
And I've heard you sing, by the way.
And I can sing a little bit.
She's a songbird.
You can sing. And I grew grew up in church, and I don't know. Spirit
You
was
know?
like, probably not.
That's funny.
We're
Let
not
me
gonna
tell
move
you.
around you.
With the people who do support the business and who are like genuine friends of ours, or just, or even intrigued and want to know more, just maybe background fans that kind of want to, well, what's all the hype about? Those Fridays are a way for us to let our hair down and show you who we really are at heart. We had a guy who came in. He's a dean of a charter school, local charter school here, and he came in the door, and you could tell like he was pretty tired. It was a Friday. He probably worked all day, all week, maybe got to him or whatever. And when he walked in the door, I saw his face, and I was like, "Smile! It's Friday. We're about to turn up." And he was like, "I'm just tired." I was like, "Okay." I said, "Well, by the end of the night, I'm sure you'll get the microphone." He was like, "Probably not." And he sat down, and I got on the microphone first. And I said, "Listen, the energy up in here is real dead. The first Friday before y'all was all the way live. So I need y'all to like give me something, because this is not it. You don't work all week long to come here and just be entertained. That's not what we do,
Right.
And so literally, after everybody got their little liquid courage and the food started coming out, people started feeling good. All of a sudden, the energy shifted like the
Like
the
crazy.
wind blew.
Yes.
And that same guy not sung one song, but two.
Oh,
Bobby
Yeah.
Brown,
And killed
My
it.
Prerogative, dancing.
And killed
His
it.
wife
went
was
with my
up.
prerogative.
Yeah, he killed
Listen,
it.
and
Literally.
and when he left, his wife sent, because I know his wife. His wife sent me a message, and she said, "Lennise, that's probably the most fun he and I have had in months. We don't really get out the house like that anymore, because most of our age following is probably mid-30s and up, which is fine for us."
Sure, that's
And
where they're
so-
gonna spend the money anyway.
Hello.
Right.
And so and the most positive feedback that I got was he enjoyed the fact that he was singing and dancing with the CEOs of the company.
Ah, okay.
We're human.
Yeah,
We're real people. We are not untouchable.
relatable.
Relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Just relatable. And
We
that's
are
what people
you.
enjoy
We
about
come from exactly where
us.
y'all come from.
Right. We have the same story, and I love the fact that we have so many different services too, because we do get to touch all walks of people. Yes, we have our
Unpack that
catering.
a little bit about what you guys, the services you offer.
Wow.
Good.
You and me. Okay. So we have, of course, the corporate catering, where we deliver to corporate places like this all the time, just platters or whatever. Or if they're doing luncheons and they want us to wait staff, we'll do that too. That's our Monday through Friday operation. On weekends, we do private catering, weddings and banquets and parties and things of that nature. We have our culinary club for kids and teens, because we are parents. And so we want to pour into those kids and teens, not just the cooking part, but the art of culinary, as well as the entrepreneurship about it. They learn how to price food. They learn how to order food. They know how to waste, all that good stuff. We're
How long
teaching
does
them
that run for?
from February to October. It's three classes a month from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. ages 6 through 17. And the cost is only $75 a month. It's $75 to join the club, but that's a lifetime membership, and then $75 a month. And then we have the brick and mortar, the event space. So that's just an intimate event space where guests can host a lunch and learn. You could host your podcast there. We could host a private. I just threw that plug in. We host intimate dinner parties. Last night we did a family style dinner party for Leadership Brand in 2018 class.
Yeah, I heard that. I was gonna come
Yeah.
by, but I went to a
Should've.
ribbon cutting for the medical marijuana.
Oh,
I
nice.
thought about
Yeah.
going
Was that
there,
Dr.
too.
King?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
It's
It was
Miracle
through the
Leaf.
chamber.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's pretty interesting. There.
So we have so many, and private chef stuff too, will come to your home, or romantic dinners and things of that nature. But with the way that our business operates, it works on, so we have so many streams of Livy O's that it's not just the catering.
Catering. Yeah.
So we're actually dropping catering soon.
Really?
Not the service of catering, just the name catering.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Livy O's is way more than just the caterer.
So you're gonna go with enterprises? You guys are getting that big?
I don't know.
Livy O's
Livy O-
Enterprises.
Oh, wow.
Because
I didn't think about that.
It's going to be more than that. Like, we have all this other stuff, but there's going to be more entities that's going to be added to Livy O's.
Yes.
So Livy O's is going to be the big umbrella.
Yeah.
And
We're on multiple locations.
That's
not
great.
just that one,
It's gonna be big.
and we say, like, we spend so much time knocking on venues doors. Hey, put us on your caterers list. Hey, let us, cater and da 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 da. And then me and him were like, why not be the venue?
Why not be?
Why not? What other venue similar to the region or similar to Riverwalk or besides Amateur Works or Tampa Garden Club that are well known, very elaborate, established, that has catering with food like ours?
Right.
Like, no other venue has that. So
The venue doesn't have that,
They
right?
don't have
At
food
all.
at all.
I went to an event there and I was like, whoa,
at all.
a lot of bad Cubans. And I don't mean the people or the cigars.
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, the venue's a great place, but,
nice looking.
No venue has that.
yeah.
And then if we have that venue, then we still have our little sub places like the studio right there in Brandon and putting those all throughout.
Most people think that you guys are a restaurant. Did you know that?
I know.
Yes.
When
We
they
know.
drive past
We
your
know.
location.
I don't know if that was poor marketing or just a misunderstanding or
think
what.
you're-
Like, I don't
you're
know.
Right there with a bunch of other restaurants.
Because I was curious to know why, as much as we put it out there, we're not a restaurant.
Well, people, that's white noise to them. They just,
I know.
oh,
We get
restaurant.
people coming there all the time
Livy O's
hoping
restaurant.
to eat.
All the time.
We get
At
people
first I
coming
thought,
all
I
the
said,
time
oh, they
hoping
opened
to
the
eat.
restaurant. I'm going to go in.
Mm-hmm.
It was locked, and I was like, well.
Yeah.
Are they open, really?
You wouldn't believe the requests that we get for a restaurant, though. And it's weird because the original vision was a cafe. So it's like I don't know. I don't think he knows. Like, we don't really know. It's not a hard no, but it's a not right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's a challenge to go from what you're doing now to a
For
restaurant.
sure.
Well, we
That's going to
managed,
make your
the
margins even
restaurant.
slimmer.
For sure.
We managed the restaurant before.
We have.
When we did the comedian thing, we started having shows over in Clearwater, and a restaurant owner came to us that was actually, we'd go around the corner and celebrate in his place, nice space, full liquor bar, everything, nice restaurant. And he was going out of business.
He was.
And he said, hey, I'm already going out of business. I can't make this place make any money. So how about I went to a couple of your shows and they've always been packed out because we was around the corner from it. He said, you think you can bring that over here?
Yeah.
We said, sure. We never say no for the most part. We can do anything
So we can't.
till we can't. So we started taking over his restaurant. Started packing it out. But a restaurant is way more intense.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It consumes you. Like
Absolutely.
we
We would go
16-hour days,
We
right?
would go days without seeing each other.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Days
Yeah.
without seeing the
So
kids.
That defeats the purpose.
For
right.
sure.
So that's why when people say it's at a restaurant, no, we don't want to go back there
No.
again.
No.
Catering, we can control catering.
Yeah.
We can say yes or no. We don't have to wait for you to walk
Restaurant, you have one person, you got to
Yeah.
stay.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that if, the mind state that we're on now, Scott, and I know you wouldn't be surprised, but the mind state that we're on now is if Livi O's became a restaurant one day, we won't be working in it.
Better believe
course.
that.
We would be, it would be a Livi O's, and it might even be a Bourbon Street Cafe,
It might
like
be
the
a
original
franchise
name.
of Livy
Yeah.
O's.
Right,
Maybe.
but we'd be sitting back, reaping the benefits, watching the system flow, and still out doing our thing.
Weekly meetings, and that's it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I can see that.
One thing I can say that I'm most proudest of in this whole journey is that we literally turned a dream into something successful and our kids get a chance to see it. It's not the money, it's not the financial freedom, it's not, honestly to me, it's not any of that. Yes, all that is good, but the fact that something was drilled into me, one state of mind all my life, and there was no other options, that I can show my kids other options than besides going working for somebody else.
Yeah, my dad used to say, you go to school, you get good grades. He didn't even say go to college. If you can go to college,
you can-
fine.
if.
And then he says, you get a decent job and you get a pension. And I
Yeah.
thought, why would I want to get a decent job?
Right.
That's terrible.
Right?
So I've had good jobs in the past,
Me too.
union stuff. And I walked away from that.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather fail all the way and
Yeah.
starve, knowing that I did it my way.
Yeah.
And my dad, he's a lot older. I mean, my dad's 87.
Different mindset.
And he grew up in the Midwest,
Coming from a different place.
from a farm.
Yeah.
You know, and when he wanted to go to college, his father said, "Well, I don't know how you're going to pay for it," and so he didn't. But my dad clung to a job for almost 40 years. You know, working in the post office. Why would I ever want to do that? And I think that's what made me really find my entrepreneur spirit.
Same.
Because I thought I could never do that. I'm not strong enough.
Right.
Turns out it requires a lot of strength.
Heck yeah.
You know, a lot of
Yes.
sleepless nights.
Yes.
You know, and my kids
Yes.
now, I mean, after I closed the practice, they were all worried, you know.
Wow.
And a lot of people came out and showed me love and have helped me in ways that I wouldn't imagine. You know, I mean, when I think about it, I have like $500,000 in debt for like medical bills.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, $500,000, good luck. It might as well be $500 million because
They're both the same. Yeah, right.
it's, there's no need in buying a Ferrari for $50,000 if you only have 40. Who cares how
Right.
much it costs?
Right.
But you know, I also think back and I go, with insurance, it's still very high.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'll be a millionaire, but if I'm not, I don't care
Yeah.
because I failed my way. You know, I would never tell my kid, go out and get a decent job. That's like the death words
I know.
of their career,
For
of their
sure.
future. Go get a decent job.
And what is a decent job? What's the definition of that?
Your boss, you think it's a favor for you to go make him money. You know, they
Yeah.
pay you for your time, which is
Peanuts.
so valuable. You can never recoup time, and that's the thing we waste the most.
I know.
I would never ever do that. My daughter has a decent job, but she's a student, and it takes some of the pressure off me. She
Right.
wants to buy some things for herself.
For sure.
I would never encourage a decent
to be the
job.
end.
That-
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
terrible.
Right, right.
That literally says go be mediocre because you
Basically.
can't be more.
Basically.
That
Not
was
on my
powerful.
watch.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
That's
Not on my
exactly what
watch.
it is.
That was powerful.
That's why I always fought against all of it.
Yeah.
I'm different. And I'm not saying I'm special or anything else.
You are
I'm-
special, of
I'm,
course.
I'm different. I'm different from everybody else. Like, I'm me. I'm the same as y'all. I come from the same place as all my friends, and we've did some of the same bad things and everything else. But I'm different though.
The adversity, right? That's what makes us very similar.
Yeah.
You went through a lot of adversity. You went through a lot of adversity.
Yeah.
Patrick went through a lot of adversity. And if I find myself sitting at a table sometimes with people and I go, wow. You know what I mean? Sometimes I have to catch myself,
Yeah,
my
I
emotions,
know.
because, and I'm in the room and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, what? You know, but then of course I catch myself and go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've done things that sucked a lot.
For sure.
And so I've earned this.
Yeah.
No one's given it to me. And if I haven't earned it, I took it. So
Right.
same thing.
Right.
They ain't giving
Same
us
thing.
nothing. Like,
You know?
Yes.
And entrepreneurship is like that. You know, we think, oh, you know, you kind of start a business and it'll be fine. You inject some money into it. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
You know how much money I spent on things I go, what? I didn't need that? And I can't return it?
Oh yeah, we've did that
Hello.
plenty of times.
I
Yeah.
have like
Plenty.
10 file cabinets in my garage right now.
And you didn't even need them.
I needed two.
Yeah.
You know, I
Plenty.
I look at all of that and I go, well, no one taught me, so I learned it
The
the
hard
way
way.
I needed to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing I don't want for my kids that I had to do is learning it the hard way. I want them to learn some things and not take it easy, but not the hardest way.
Right. That's what we say too. We're doing all of the backbreaking work for the foundation of the business so that you build upon that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want my daughter to be working 12, 17, 20 hours in the kitchen.
Society
want
doesn't
my-
reward that now.
No.
At all.
No.
Hard
Not
work
at
is
all.
not
Those
being
those
rewarded.
days of yore are gone.
For sure.
You know, it's all
sure.
digital. It's how can I have the most productivity
Yeah.
with the least amount of effort,
For
and that's
sure.
fine.
And I say, when Olivia walks into Livy O's, when it's her turn to take over the business,
You'll have her
if
namesake.
if that's what she wants, and she says now that that's what she wants, but she's 8, you know, it may or may not change. But if that is what she wants, she's going to walk into that seat at the CEO table. She's not going to walk into the kitchen. She's not going to walk into standing behind the buffet line serving people green beans. She's not going to walk into that, you know. She's going to walk into ownership. And my job, and our job, not my job, but our job is to set that up for her. So that's what we're out here doing with that mission. And my pastor just made it very clear to me, like, you know, we spent so much time just being busy that we got so far away from the mission and the purpose of the business that it was becoming consuming.
Sure.
And so she told me very distinctly, what if you die before you see what Livy O's really is to become? What if you never see it?
That's a real possibility.
It's a real possibility.
You know,
So now my perspective on my why has changed because I've accepted that I might not. Now I don't get up and live every day as if I'm not. Or hope, like, I don't hope that, I do hope I see the glory one day, of and reap the fruit of the labor and all that good stuff. But what if I don't?
Yeah.
So my mission now becomes do it for my children. Do it for my children.
That's a good mission.
Do it for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
sure.
I don't know there's a better one.
And have fun while I'm doing it.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Because I have fun. When I'm going out to something Brandon Chamber related or South Tampa Chamber related or wherever I'm going, I'm being all the way me. I'm not being nobody else. I'm not pretending. I'm not doing any of that. I am being my authentic self. You're either going to hate me or you're going to love me, but it won't be in between.
I love that, and I subscribe to that. When I go into places and I'm overdressed, I go, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I remind myself of the times when I was in middle school, junior high school, wearing my sister's jeans. And I go, I'm not doing this to fit in with you.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll always overdress.
Yeah.
Always. And I mean, there's sometimes I come out, I may do a podcast and I'm wearing a Spike Lee t-shirt.
Yeah.
But I'm still overdressed.
Yeah.
I wear ripped up jeans. And when I go to chamber functions, sometimes I'll wear suits.
Sometimes you
I
won't.
won't. Yeah. Sometimes I'll shave. Sometimes I won't.
Hello, me.
Because I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be like you.
No.
You're probably trying to be like me.
Me, right?
And so, when I wear scrubs or if I'm out of scrubs and I see someone, they go, oh, I didn't recognize you because you weren't in scrubs. And I go, well, just look at my face.
Start there.
Yeah, that's about right. I still look the same. Like,
exactly.
Scott, you have a real smart.
He's like, I know.
I was a preacher's kid, so I went upside the head a few times.
You were
so
bad.
I saved them for now. When you can't,
that's so good.
do that. But I mean, that's the way I am as a person. A lot of people say I'm arrogant, and I go, okay, that's okay. You won't be borrowing anything from me, and maybe I practice humility now, right? I almost died multiple times, and so I think about that, and I try to live my life with love now.
Amen.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like it's my last, which it could be.
Right.
Every little thing, I'm like, what? Is my lifespan shortened? Any of those things. But I feel a sense of urgency to get things done. Yeah. And, what you were saying about how you may see Livy O's to be, something more or die before it.
Right.
I'm hoping that I die before I see what the Mastermind Lab can be because I want to see it go to a point.
Keep going.
And then know that it'll go to
where
it. And, I don't know. I feel like that. And maybe my kids are like, I'm not doing this. Yeah. I'm going to do my own thing. And I go, okay. Yeah. Then I do what I wanted to, and I did it my way.
Right.
And do it your way, too. Don't let some person that you're smarter than, who could be a jerk to you, control your destiny.
Amen.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You have to control your destiny or someone else will.
For sure.
Jack Welch.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
So what else you guys want to talk about?
Shoot.
Oh,
you
man.
covered all the bases.
I know. I like it.
I run my mouth a
all the
lot.
bases. Let me ask you a question. We were talking about how working in corporate America, want to clock in on the time clock and ask for permission and all that good stuff. And sometimes as an entrepreneur, I put myself in the employee's position. What do you think of or say to the employees who are doing for you what you are doing for someone else?
I say, I hope you don't stay here doing this too long. I'd really be disappointed if you don't grow. Because you know what? If you're not happy, you should leave.
Right.
Because if you feel like you have a crappy job, then it's so easy to go find another crappy job in case what you're trying doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so the people I worked with, I encourage them to grow. If they're there, they're stagnant.
Yeah.
They're feeling a false sense of security. I say, you should grow. You should say, I'm leaving you for someone better.
Yeah.
And that's myself.
Okay.
Good. I've had people leave me.
Yeah.
And they
Us
have their
too.
own place. And I go, good. You know, if you're there too long, shame on you.
Wow.
Or shame on me for not being a better leader.
Wow. See, I think like that. Shame on me for not being a better leader.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say shame on me first.
I did have a tough conversation with an employee one time, and she's gone now. But it was you could like the energy level was just bad. It was bad, and so I explained to this person, like, if you, like you just said, if this is not where you look forward to coming to every day, don't come.
Yeah.
Just don't, because I wouldn't even like I've been there before, so I know how it feels to get up and go to a job that you seriously dislike every day because you feel like you have to, but you don't have to.
You feel like obligated, and you feel like you might be irresponsible if you don't.
Right.
You know, when I quit, I was like, I just quit.
Yeah.
And so I came home and I was like, I just quit.
What am I gonna do now?
Like, what?
Yeah.
You quit?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, because it's not what I want to do. And I'd rather starve than be forced to do what I don't want to do.
Wow.
What's the use? You're doing something that you hate, or maybe you don't hate it. Maybe you just tolerate it just enough. That's just an existence. That's not living.
Right.
And not everyone's built for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree 1,000%.
We still need people to drive us around
Right.
on a bus. We still need people to build these
No.
buildings.
Yeah.
They're not all in business for themselves.
Right.
But I think it needs to be a fit for you.
Right.
And I've always had problems on jobs because I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right?
You
So
never
when
quite
I was
fit.
in the union, I love the money. I'm like, yeah, definitely overpay me, please. And I don't work after lunch, by the way, because no one else does. And if
That's
you yell at me,
nice.
I'll get a delegate.
Oh my gosh.
But we still need all of those people. Even if everyone went to college, we still need people to do those things.
Absolutely.
We still need people cleaning the windows,
Yeah.
even if they went to college.
Everybody got to play a role.
That's true.
Exactly. And
That's so
so, I
true.
mean, we still need crossing guards, right?
Very true.
And so it's not to even, look down on any of those positions. I think every one of them is important.
In
My most
society.
important job and my highest paying job, aside from being an entrepreneur, is when I mopped the floor in a hospital. They overpaid me.
Wow.
I was getting paid in the mid 70s, and I was in my early 20s. And so I just mopped and waxed the floor,
Wow.
and I was overpaid. But you know what? That job was important, because when you don't think it is, it is. Right?
So true.
When they call me and say, hey, there's a big mess in the emergency room bathroom for women, I know what to expect. I need to come with the mask.
Yeah.
I know there was a problem in there.
Yeah.
But I'm not ashamed to do any of that. And I'll never ask people to do for me what I wouldn't do
Wouldn't do.
myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we say too.
Yeah. I rant sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, no.
We wash dishes. We mop floors. We take out trash. We do all of that.
Yeah.
It's never beneath me.
It shouldn't be. It's an
It
important
can't
job.
be,
For
yeah.
sure.
You know, one of the most powerful unions is the New York City Sanitation Union.
Wow.
All they have to do is go, we're not working, and then garbage piles up, piles up,
Everywhere.
piles up.
Like
In a place with
crazy.
10 million people. And they're all stacked on top of each other. It's not spread out like
I
LA.
know.
So the
Wow.
mayor made it illegal for city workers to strike. What
Really?
happens if the police say, we're not doing that? Say what you want about the police, but when there's a problem, that's the first people you call.
Absolutely.
We always say
Absolutely.
And so when the police are like, we're not going to work, what are you going to do?
that too. Right.
So,
What's that night? The Purge. We'll have the Purge.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Get
So we're going
strapped
to
up.
wrap this up.
Okay.
How can people reach you and learn more about Livy O's?
Please visit us on our website, livyos.com, LIVYOS.com. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Livy O's Catering Co. Livy O's Catering Co. And that's how you can reach us, or just call our office, come by the brick and mortar. It's right on Highway 60. We're open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. But we are at 905 East Brandon Boulevard, and we're happy to host your parties, have your kids become a part of the culinary club. I love the babies. Or deliver to your place of business if you want to appreciate your staff or have a lunch and learn or whatever. Please give us a call.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so this is our first time
Yes.
at the Tampa Club. I have to definitely shout them out.
Yes.
Yes.
They are sponsoring our show now. And
nice.
this is the first time we're doing this with this amazing view.
The view is
Absolutely.
beautiful.
And we also we're stepping up our game a little bit more, having interviews like this, having
Nice.
people like you
Thank
guys
you.
come on the show. I've seen you on TV, so now we have to have that claim. Hey,
There's gonna be more TV to come.
Yeah.
well, good, and there'll be more podcasting
Yeah.
to come as well.
Yeah,
So we
thank
want to
you.
have you back.
Awesome. Please.
Whenever you ask, we here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Maybe we'll do a little live demo or something on your show on the next one.
I
I'd
know,
love
right?
to put my chef jacket
We
on.
we could come out to
Look,
the
Patrick is
location.
raising his hand. He approves that
Yeah, that'd
message.
be cool.
Yeah, I'm hungry
be
too,
cool.
all the
Yeah.
time.
I'm hungry now, so yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
cool.
And speaking of vegan, we can go. You
I'm
know,
not vegan.
I know you're
He
not.
like, give me
vegan.
some
I
meat now.
destroy red meat.
You grass fed.
Always grass-fed.
Always
Yeah,
grass fed.
yeah.
Never corn fed.
I got you covered.
So yeah, I mean, I'm having some red meat tonight.
Yeah.
It's marinating now.
Oh, it's going down then.
But,
Were
you
you
know, I have
grilling it or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Friday, so I don't
Yeah,
have to worry
yeah.
about getting up
Okay.
early. But the other thing is that my whole diet has changed. Right? I
Nice.
can't just put the regular things I put on a steak. I have
Right.
to use herbs and spices
Mhm.
and vegetables now to season my food, according to the doctor.
I can teach you a lot
I
about
say,
that.
that's
I
all
mean,
that
you
is. We
cook
gotta-
though, so I don't know if you need
Yeah.
my help.
No,
but-
I always
Yeah.
listen.
You
I'll
can
have a
always
cup of
use
coffee
some.
with anyone
Yeah.
about anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think this was a great time, and thank you
For
guys
sure.
for
Yeah.
coming. I know you braved some traffic and bad
Wasn't bad.
parking and all of that stuff.
It's
It
all
wasn't
good,
bad at
man.
all. We were excited about the view when we got up here and saw what we were looking over. It was like, because one of my
No, go ahead. You good.
one of my when all the kids are gone, we got a little while, but when they're all gone,
Condo, big
downtown,
windows.
big windows. I need like at least the 30th or above floor. With the beautiful view, being able to walk to everything. It could even be a studio apartment. It doesn't have to even have a bedroom because it's just me and him by then. So, and that lets the kids know you can't come back.
Need a bed in the bathroom.
I know, right?
Bed in
When I
the
moved out of my
bathroom.
parents' house,
Yeah.
my mom made my bedroom her hat room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hat
Yeah.
room?
I don't even
Well,
wear hats.
my father's a
but-
preacher, so
Oh, well, yeah, she got to
yeah,
have a lot
Mama's
of
a-
hats.
yeah, she's a hat lady, for
Front
sure.
row, nice hat.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes,
she's
sir.
a hat lady.
Yes.
But yeah, this was fun. Thank you
It
so
was.
much for coming out.
No
Absolutely.
worries.
We'll talk to you guys more about it offline.
Absolutely. Thank you
We'll
so
get
much,
in.
guys.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
us.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.